Without the Melbourne Marathon Committee, the generous support of the Victorian Dairy Industry Authority, who, apart from being responsible for delicious Big M flavoured milk, are the major sponsors of this event, voluntary helpers, the police, local councils, doctors, paramedics and backup teams, none of this would be possible. Each contributing his or her own specialist skill or knowledge helps to make this a true community effort. At the pre-race spaghetti night, visiting international athletes and local champions were introduced to the local community.
Just from my far right-hand side, I have Spiros Nakos. Just stand up, Spiros. Spiros is come over from Athens. Just sitting next to Spiros, we have Charles Mooner. Stand up, Charles. Charles is a policeman in Tanzania. He's 19 years of age. Sitting next to Charles, we have Juma Akanga. I think we can all remember Juma for that wonderful marathon in Brisbane. And just briefly, the story on how Juma came to be here this evening. That I tried to get him down after the Brisbane Commonwealth Games, but unfortunately the government took him back very quickly. But I met him again in Tokyo this year at the Tokyo Marathon, and Jim said there that he remembers very fondly the Australian public and the warmth they gave him, and I'm sure that was one of the major reasons in him wanting to come back to Australia. So we're very pleased to have you here, Jim. Sitting next to Juma, we have Hassan Dimwali. He's the team manager. An Australian representative here from Melbourne, Dot Brown. Dot has a personal best time which he recorded in London this year of 2 hours 41. It was a great performance. His time last year was 2 hours 12:50, 2:12:50 in the marathon. Since that marathon, he's represented Australia in the London Marathon and more recently in the Helsinki Games. He was a member of the Australian team. And last but by no means least, we have from New Zealand, Margaret Walker. But she won the Christchurch Marathon in June of this year. She's only been running 4 years and she ran 2:43. She's come over here for a good race. She told me she's looking for a good race, a fast time, and she's hoping to qualify for the Los Angeles Games for her own country, for New Zealand here. We hope you make it.
Incidentally, someone in the know tried to tell me that the reason for having a spaghetti night was to build up the concentration of carbohydrates in the body. But I know the real reason has to do with an old saying that refers to condemned men. For this young fellow, it looks like the wall has come just in time. Marathon runners are only too aware of the wall, that singly most difficult stage of any marathon. This is an enormous hurdle of fatigue, which most often has them wondering, will I make it, or will I throw in the towel now? It occurs after about 20 miles and presents the most agonising picture of the marathon runner. After the wall stage, the psychological load lightens as the runners' thoughts turn to brighter things such as 20 miles down and only 6 to go.
They're moving down Fitzroy Street, as you've said now, probably to the consternation of some of the people who have been on Fitzroy Street most of the night and are heading home. They probably can't understand why people are expending so much energy moving down Fitzroy Street. It is not the normal pace, I hasten to add, down Fitzroy Street. They're moving up to the intersection, moving into St Kilda Road very shortly, and that'll be the home stretch for Yuma Rakanga, who seems to still be moving very well in this race. We've been trying to spot the second place getter.
From here, the running gets easier. The vision of the finish line in the distance can have a remarkable curative effect on the most exhausted body. And what an amazing thing the human body is. That it can be ordered on to greater and greater levels of exertion long after all of its sensory devices have cried, enough, is truly remarkable.
What's this?
Well, we have a band in the background and give us a little music while we're waiting for the run. They'll keep you entertained.
Oh, great.
Now
That
it's
was
10:15. And later on in the afternoon also. Number 17,
Anybody's done it at lunch?
Now watch as the eventual winner, Juma Ikanga, crosses the finish line to the applause of the crowd.
Junior Akanga just coming up the road there now, just behind another wheelchair competitor. So, Junior Akanga in sight.
Rachel.